Welcome to the first episode of Ready or Not for Dummies, where we'll be going over the SWAT AI, how it interacts with you, and how to best utilize it. I've got over 275 hours in Ready or Not at this point, so I've spent a good 250 of those dealing with the AI, so I've got a good grasp of how they interact with each other and you and the environment. Hopefully this video is going to help you avoid some of the pain and suffering I went through. First things first is key bindings. In the options menu, if you go ahead and click on that, you'll find the game set up first for you. In here are a few things under the gameplay section you can change. These are the default commands depending on where you're looking in the environment, and default commands after you've told the AI to stack up or try to open a door. If they find it's locked or open, you can change the options depending on your preferences. Next up is the controls section, where you're going to find the actual key bindings you're probably looking for. One helpful keybind in the movement section is the jump keybind for space. It won't let you jump currently, but it will do whatever the Z function's doing based on where you're looking. That does include picking up evidence, reporting suspects, and arresting any targets. The only other important tab you're going to need is the teamwork tab. Here you'll find all the keybinds for interacting with the SWAT AI. I have not changed any of these keybinds. All of these are default, and I don't really see any reason to change them, but feel free. Another important note is the only ones I do not use on this list are the select gold, blue, and red element buttons. I just find the function keys are too far to actually be useful in game. So the most important 2 or 3 keybinds here are the open command interface at middle mouse button, the issue default command at Z, also space, and the hold command, also known as Q command, at left shift. The middle mouse button for opening the command interface is going to be what you probably utilize the most. It allows you to specifically command your AI to breach, to open a door, to deploy stingers, to deploy flashbangs, you name it. This is where you can have them do that. An element is either the entire team, referenced by the yellow or gold color, the blue element or blue team, which is 2 AI, and the red element, which is the 2 red AI. You can cycle between them with the mouse wheel up and down. To actually navigate the menu itself, you're going to use the command keys 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. The only other important navigational keybind is the tab key. That allows you to go backwards in the menu. But that about wraps it up for keybinds for interacting with your SWAT AI, so we can go ahead and take it into the game. So once you load up into the lobby, you can go to your equipment and change your equipment along with your AI's equipment. Keep in mind they can only utilize things that you supply them with. If you give them no door wedges, they can't wedge a door for you, etc., etc. In order to access their options, you can see that you can just click under the Self tab, and the tab drops down for you, and you can select individual AI, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. There are a few exceptions to what you can have them use when you are in game, such as tasers and sidearms. It doesn't matter what you do, they will not use a sidearm. If you give them no magazines in primary, they just won't shoot. If you give them a taser or a sidearm along with a ballistic shield, and you deploy that ballistic shield, they still won't shoot. Just a heads up. A few notes about the allowed charges of slots. Some of them are 1-to-1, such as magazines and grenades. Some of them are 2-to-1. Of note are the taser, which will give you 2 charges of taser per 1 slot you use. And similarly, the door wedge will give you 2 slots of use per slot you give to that. That wraps up the loadout section. Now we're going to go into when you're doing a raid or mission, how you can best utilize the AI and what to expect. As I mentioned previously, depending on where you're looking, we'll give you different options. That goes for both the default commands you have set and the command interface, as you can see here. When issuing commands, you can send a command to the entire team.
Open the door. Clear it. Roger that, sir. Roger that. We'll take care of it.
You can send a command to just the blue team.
Post up and cover. Copy that.
And you can send a command to just the red team.
Post up and cover. Roger.
By holding left shift, you can queue a command, which will allow you to queue a command to either everybody or an individual AI team. Once done, you can then execute this command, which will then have the AI proceed with whatever course of action you gave them.
Provide cover. Roger.
You can have them execute these at the same time using the yellow color.
Copy that. Ready to go. Bags ready.
Alternatively, you can have them execute their given commands individually by pressing execute on the colored team you want to have execute that command.
All right. Roger that. Bags ready.
When simultaneously executing orders, keep in mind the length of time it will take the team to fully complete the order. For instance, if you ask them to C2 and flashbang, and the other team to just open and flashbang, the team that is opening and flashbanging will get done with that command way before the other team.
Roger that, sir. Bang is ready. Knock this door down.
So let's say you just opened and cleared a room, the AI went in, and you have one suspect and one civilian that you were able to apprehend. You can command the AI to restrain both of those targets. Additionally, when you open the menu, you will see an additional option. It is called Confirm Order Request. It's always on 5 by default. That will allow you to command the AI to pick up any evidence you might not be able to see. Be prepared to use this a lot. I find the evidence will clip through objects in the map, or just the suspects will yeet them into Narnia. So really the AI I found is most helpful for restraining targets and finding evidence that you can't find. You also can secure suspects, civilians, and evidence by pressing space or Z depending on where you're looking. I just find it's more helpful when you have that circular white dot to really tell where you're looking at. Keep in mind you only have 4 AI teammates, so they can only really do 4 things individually. If you order them to, for instance, restrain 4 targets and then come across a 5th, you have to wait until one finishes to order that 5th restrain. Along with that, some orders precede or overrule current orders. If you order something like to wedge a door and then order them to fall in, they will cancel the door wedge command and begin to fall in instead. Keep that in mind if you order restrains and then start to walk away and then order a fall in or a cover me or a stack up. It may interrupt a previous command, so you might have to be patient. That's why I recommend keeping the SWAT AI 1 or 2 rooms away from you max, depending on what you're trying to do. As far as taking part in the breaching of a threshold yourself with the AI, I find it best to queue up the breaching action you want, along with whatever grenade you want after. And then once the AI is in position to execute that breach, you go ahead with the breaching action itself. I find the action that works best is shotgunning the door. Once you shotgun that door, they will go ahead and toss in whatever equipment after. Make sure you go ahead and click the execute button, because if you do not, the AI will not throw the grenade after you shotgun the door or breach the threshold. So after 275 hours of gameplay, I find myself utilizing the SWAT AI most often just to restrain targets and to secure evidence that I either don't want to secure or just couldn't find. Additionally, if you're ever wondering if a suspect is faking death or not, there's a few easy ways you can tell. A suspect that has this pool of blood underneath them is always dead. If they have the death symbol and this pool of blood or something similar doesn't show up, that person is faking it. If you ever see a suspect or civilian with this dizzy incapacitation symbol, they're always out of the fight. They'll never get back up. If you ever order a restrain anything command to an AI and they're making their way there, and then you restrain the AI before they can get there, you're likely to see your AI bug out. I recommend allowing the SWAT AI to restrain any targets you command them to without interfering. If you interrupt that process by restraining the target, you can find that the SWAT AI just gets locked trying to complete that command. Also keep in mind the AI is just kind of buggy here and there. They might not go restrain a target. You tell them to restrain, even if no other factor should prevent them from doing so. That's kind of why I tell you to keep them 1 or 2 rooms away to limit any time you're waiting for them. I think my last tip, which I find more and more helpful the longer I play, is use door wedges. Those things are great. The more you learn a map and how the AI is likely to flank you and be patrolling, I find door wedges to be more and more helpful. Well, that wraps it up for the first episode of Ready or Not for Dummies. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video by liking and subscribing. If you didn't like the video for any reason, don't be afraid to use that dislike button. Just remember to leave me a comment of what you didn't dislike so I can fix it. If there's another topic you want to see on Ready or Not for Dummies, go ahead and leave that below too. Hope to see you guys in the next one.